Scott Parker, it's great to speak to you once again. How was the pre-season in Portugal? Productive for you?
Yeah, it's been productive. To be fair, we had a good pre-season. We had 9 days in pre-season. Back now for the last week. So, as always, pre-season is a time to first and foremost get players fit and get them up to a level, and then obviously try and get some good work in tactically and a game understanding of obviously trying to develop the team and what we need to be this year, really. So still early stages, week 5 now or week 4, whatever we are. So still a little bit more to do, but overall it's been some good work.
Drawing from your experience as a player to now as a manager, how much has preseason actually changed from when you say starting out to what you're seeing now as a manager with the technology that we now have and more data available?
Yes, I mean, it's changed tenfold, really. When I started out 22, 23 years ago, really, it was pretty basic in the sense of didn't really have the sort of levels of data and the technology that obviously I have as a coach now and what I can refer to and obviously use. Back then, it was practically, the best thing you could have had was an energy drink, really. I think obviously that was about it in terms of the latest developments now, the data that I'm exposed to in terms of understanding players' loads, how much they've done per day, how much their weekly totals are all gauges for me and my staff in terms of knowing how far we can push, where we need to add in certain areas, where we don't. So these are all good. It's all good stuff to have to obviously try and get a player to optimum when we need them to get there, really.
Drawing from your previous experience, but a little bit closer to the present time, your experience managing in the Premier League before to now, you've got far more experience, but what lessons did you take from what you've experienced before?
Look, it's a relentless league. I think I knew that. I understand that because obviously I played in it for such a long time. Managing it didn't surprise me as well. An unforgiving league that at any one moment you switch off. Any error you make individually, 9 times out of 10 is punished. So the levels of where we've come from in the Championship to the levels we're going to is pretty vast, really. And yeah, we need to understand that, and of course the quality has gone up. So yeah, I mean, less mistakes is vital. What brings less mistakes, of course, is quality of player, in terms of the right players and the recruitment in doing that. Tactically, certain moments getting it tactically right to obviously nullify threats what may be from opposition. So these are all key factors in terms of where we're going to and the levels we're going to, really. So, yeah.
When I look at Bournemouth, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that they were in the Premier League. There's an expectation of how they'll be playing, as opposed to a team like Forest, where 2 generations of fans that have grown up never seen them in the Premier League. Bournemouth have been there recently. People have an association with their style of play. So for those around the globe who don't have access to the Championship, to see what Bournemouth look like now under your stewardship, what can we expect in the Premier League?
Well, it's a young team. We've got a very young, dynamic team, a hungry team. It's a team probably in early stage of development, really. Last year was exactly that. We had 3 or 4 players. It was their first full season in the Championship. Players that had been released from clubs, Arsenal, Charlton, and gave them the opportunity to get some games in the Championship. These players then probably not overperformed, but performed really well and grabbed their opportunity and done very well. We also have a mixture of players that have been in and around the Premier League, players that probably have not had same success in the Premier League, but certainly have been around it. So there's a big challenge for all these players next year in that sense. But like I said, it's a young, exciting team. And yeah, the football that we played last year was a dominant game, controlled possession with a real high intensity about us in a lot of the phases of what we play in. I suspect you'll see we'll have to be different this year. Last year we was often faced against stubborn sides who give us a lot of respect, so had to be patient, had to have control of the ball, had to work opening at certain moments. I think this year will be different because obviously where we sit as a club and as a team in the stature of the league we're in, the game will probably be a little bit more different to that. We'll have to give up possession in that moment and have to be a bit of a different side to what we were last year. But yeah, I think that's probably the main, people that don't know us, that's probably the main backstory of us really.
Yeah, and I think people love watching football because they want to be entertained, and certain players have that ability. Just looking through your side and recent signings, Dembele, I know he came in January, Rothwell, dribblers. Can we expect a bit of that entertainment for all the neutral fans out there from those players?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's we have quality in our squad. We have quality in areas which obviously, like I said, I'm sure that our players will bring that. So yeah, we're an exciting team. We're a young team. This team are a hungry group of players that have worked tirelessly hard last year to get to the point of operating in the biggest division in the world, really. And nothing suggests otherwise, that this team are not looking forward to every bit of it and showcasing their qualities on the big stage. So yeah, we're looking forward to that.
I've interviewed Ryan Fredericks before in person, not via this digital platform, and he's a character. I really enjoyed my conversation with him, and you've played with him at various different levels. I mean, what's it like to manage a former teammate? I know it's not your first time, but still, is it strange in any way?
It isn't strange, really. No, obviously, when I first took the Fulham job, that was a group of players that I played mostly with. So that transition is pretty easy for me, and distancing and seeing it no longer as a teammate is pretty easy, really. So I'm pleased with bringing Ryan in. I think he gives us a profile which we probably need in the team, pace, power, which obviously we need to add, really. So Ryan gives us that, and he also gives us the experience of playing in the Premier League as well. So that's going to be helpful for us.
Plenty of experience, and someone else who's been at Bournemouth for a little while now, and there was a lot of expectation on him because of the potential he showed, Dominic Solanke. Do you think this is a time now that he's really going to show his worth in the Premier League?
I hope so. I really hope so. Dom's got all the attributes to do that. He's coming off the back of a massive season last year. So yeah, again, Dominic Solanke falls into that bracket. Last time in and around the Premier League, was young, didn't play an awful amount of football, but certainly now the stage is there for him, along with the other lads, really, for him to. I see someone who's matured, definitely. I think last year was a big year for him in terms of confidence, in terms of his game developing as much as it did. And like I said, I think next year could be a massive year for him, really.
All the players I've talked about so far have been more attack-minded players further forward, except for Fredericks. But defensively, are you facing any issues? I mean, Cahill's gone, Phillips is gone. Are you still trying to figure things out? I mean, who partners Lloyd Kelly? I mean, he's captain. I'm going to presume that he starts.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big challenge for us at the moment, really. So we lost 8 players at the back end of last season. We've obviously replaced them with 2. Yeah, we need some help in that position for sure. We need to add, not just there. We need to add to help the players that you've mentioned to make us competitive this year. That's exactly what we're going to need to do. And hopefully over the next few weeks we're able to do that, to give us a chance, really.
Yeah. Can I also ask about David Brooks? I mean, how has his return been? I think it's some of the entire footballing community will be really firmly behind.
Yeah, he's coming on really well, to be fair. So firstly, obviously, has had all clear. He's been with us all pre-season. Modified. He's not been with the team. He's just been on his own. The journey's still going to be a bit of a slow one for David. We can't push too much because due to where he is in his process of recovering, really. but he's certainly heading in the right way. Time frames, I wouldn't really want to put anything on that. It's day by day and step by step with David, but certainly at this present moment in time, he's looking very, very good, and hopefully over the coming weeks we can get him to a level which he can be competitive and be fit enough to try and get into the team, really.
Yeah, we wish him nothing but the best, of course. I'm just going to switch to more general questions. I'm looking at the Premier League. I'm looking at the signings that have been made by teams, outstanding. I'm looking at managerial appointments, either recent or just happened. And I'm thinking this would be the most competitive season I've ever seen in my entire life. Do you share this viewpoint for someone that's actually competing in this division?
Yeah, I probably do. Yeah, I see it. I see every year the Premier League just getting more competitive, finances going up tenfold. Competitors who we currently look at are obviously spending huge amounts and vast amounts of money on their squads to improve them. And every year the Premier League, with the finances, what it brings, being the best league in the world, obviously becomes more challenging and more competitive, really. So yeah, I think you're right. I see this year being ultra competitive, and it's, you know, a very, very strong league, really.
We've seen, of course, plenty of managers coming from overseas, but I'm looking at English managers, young English managers like yourself, early 40s. Steve Cooper's another one. Wayne Rooney, I know, who's over in the MLS right now, but he did a truly admirable job at Derby. Do you think it's a good sign for the English game moving forward, having people like yourself coming through?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You know, it's something that certainly I look at, and you know, that whether that's Frank, whether that's Stephen now in the Premier League, Graham Potter, these are all managers that, you know, being of the same nationality in one of the best and biggest leagues, is certainly something that I'm proud of, and certainly something that I think can only be good for English coaches as well, while also the experience of other coaches coming into our league, what we can learn off, and we can understand things which, you know, these other foreign coaches have done, really, and moved our game on tenfold as well, really. So I think all round it's an exciting league in that sense.
Yeah, in case anyone screams injustice at me, I know Rooney is still in his 30s as well, not even his early 40s before anyone complains. What about the disruption in the season itself, because the World Cup is happening? It's unprecedented. Do you think this is a good chance to be a positive or a negative for your side? Because momentum could be lost, or it could be a chance to regroup.
Yeah, it could be. At this present moment in time, this is very new. What's going to happen this year never happened before. So again, I think only time will tell. Like you said, I think it's exactly like that. You're in a good reign of form. Is it time you want to have a 6-week or 5-week break? Probably not. You've got injuries and it ain't going so well. It probably is a time, but ultimately you're not really, you know, at this moment in time, it's not something that you can really call. What I do know is we need to prepare for that. We need to plan for that and work out accordingly. This is going to be another pre-season as such, 5 or 6 weeks out. It's not a 2-week winter break. This is a long chunk of the season again. So while we're going to have to give the players some downtime, we're also then going to have to work out exactly how we get back up to speed and go from there, really.
Something else which is interesting for me is the substitutions rule, 5 allowed in the Premier League now. Do you think that could hinder teams or the smaller squads? A lot has been made up about this.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, of course that would be the case. Clubs like ourselves, or clubs with not as bigger squads, or the levels of quality of squads that some other clubs may have, of course there is an advantage there, but it is what it is, really. So, you know, I'm not going to whinge about that. They're the rules, and that's the rules for this year. So we apply them, and, you know, we go from there, really.